When the doubt gets loud, but answer that call. Vision ain't real till you grind at speed, so breathing deep. Then call the damn leads. Call the damn leads.
Hey, welcome back to Call the Damn Leads, the show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your host, Drewbie Wilson. With more than 2 decades in sales, I've seen it, been through it, heard about it. Now I'm bringing those stories to you, my favorite people in the world, the sales community, because let's be honest, this is the greatest job on earth. It doesn't matter where you come from, what background, what personality type, you can carve out an amazing life in sales. And today's guest is no stranger to that journey. He's my friend, Mr. Chris Garrison. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good to be here, brother.
Hey, I'm excited to have you, man. I want to jump right in, though. I want to hear your crazy sales story.
Yeah, so I'm going to label it the lamest sales story probably that's going to be on your show. But when I first started my cleaning business, I got a cleaning and restoration business, morphed from cleaning to restoration, still an operator in that business over a decade now. And when I first started it, I was broke, no marketing money, barely enough money to get the tools that I needed to do to perform my cleaning services. So I went door-to-door commercial. I was too much of a chicken to go door-to-door residential. And I went commercial, started asking for general managers, walked in on a rent-a-center. And on that rent-a-center, I said, hey, who's taking care of your carpets inside? Because I was trying to go after low-moisture carpet cleaning. I said, do you have anybody that's taking care of your carpets? And they said no, but we'll take your name, number, and give it to our general manager. The general manager of the store was not there at the time. So 30 minutes later, I get a phone call from the general manager. So that was odd by itself because typically you're not going to get those calls. And he said, hey, do you do detailing trucks and windows? And I said, absolutely. Are you at the store right now? And so remember, I was broke, so revenue was revenue. Hey. So I immediately turned around. I was still in the same town soliciting, so I turned around, went and met him. And on the way, I'm on YouTube University. YouTubed it. I was like, how to clean windows. I had cleaned my own vehicles before, so I was okay with that. And then I was just trying to figure out what it was going to be per time and material. But literally, I was looking up how do you professionally clean a window because all I knew was show up with paper towels and some Windex. So I did realize a squeegee was involved. I quoted it. That one store turned into an area of rent-a-centers every 2 weeks. That was a $40,000 income for me within my first year and a half. And that's what gave me a base layer of start to be able to grow Absolute Restoration at this point. So humble beginnings. And I just had to be willing to do whatever the customer was asking. I mean, cleaning was cleaning the way I saw it at that point.
All right. There's so many layers to this story that I'm going to pull out here. This is going to be fun because I, first of all, love this. Having been broke and done some questionable things over the years from YouTubeversity, I love it. Secondly, what I love about this story is it takes me back to when I worked at a retail cigar shop. And there was this dude, Kenny, who would come in every 2 weeks and clean the windows. And this was the most stereotypical stoner bum, goofball dude of all time that would come and do this. And a lot of people would be like, oh, you clean windows? Cool. But I'll never forget, bro. One time he opened up his wallet to take the check that we gave him. Stacks of money. He was going to the strip club.
It costs you absolutely nothing to start a window cleaning business.
That is why I wanted to bring this up, because this is something that anyone who's in a position right now who's struggling can go and buy some Dawn dish soap, a bucket, a squeegee, and you can go start knocking doors and make money today. And so that's why I love this story, because it goes to show you, man, that in a pinch, opportunity is there for those who are willing to go and get it.
Absolutely.
Is that something you've experienced over the years?
100%. If you're willing to clean the chicken wing bones out of the rent-a-center trucks and you're willing to learn how to whip a squeegee like a ninja, I mean, some of the coolest videos was on YouTube about the squeegee masters. I was like, man, one day. And I remember early morning, the sun would be coming up and I'm like, I've got the best job ever. And I'm over here just whipping this. couple of times there was people on the inside of the windows at different establishments that I started cleaning windows at. And I'm like, I bet they think I am awesome watching the squeegee, knowing they didn't even know I was there. But, what you think in your head. So, yeah, you can create opportunity out of anything. I told somebody the other day, I said, you can make money doing anything. You just got to choose what you want to go make money at. And then, hey, if you decide you hate it, then you pivot onto a different channel and you start making money on that. The problem is most people never stick to it long enough to become good at anything. So they always suck. And since they don't bring the value, the money doesn't follow.
Preach it. And one thing I will say, shout out to Rent-A-Center. They're for the people. Because I actually had an opportunity last year to go down and speak to a community of like 38 or 40 Rent-A-Center owners, like the whole franchisee group, like amazing humans, some of the kindest people on the planet.
Yeah. And
they were all like that. It's like, if you got in with one, all of them loved you.
Yep.
And I think that's another thing to say in terms of don't be afraid to go and do a great job for one person. If you just have to kind of scrape it by and make a few bucks without like going crazy, man, you never know what doing a great job will do in terms of the relationship it will build, because they talk.
I got to finish the story and say I ended up cleaning the carpet and the upholstery. After I did a couple of months of windows and trucks, they gave me a shot because they already had a guy. But they gave me a shot because the guy made a mistake, and I picked those up, and that's how it became that $40,000. And this was like 15 years ago. This was before I had the LLC. It was just Chris Garrison, DBA in it. So it was my start, and it showed me the power of consistency and also being a yes man. Now, when you grow and get into different stages of your career path, being the yes man is not always the best thing. You actually got to learn how to say no. But early on, when you got more time than you do money, being the yes man is very beneficial.
I actually love this, and let's go down that path, because there are folks who are out there right now who are like, man, I've got more than I can keep up with, and I keep saying yes to things, and like I'm taking on these projects, and it's like driving me crazy. So for you, when did that shift really happen of going, okay, I'm at a point where I now need to disqualify some of these jobs, and even though the money looks good and like I'm a revenue guy, I have to say no because it's not the best use of my time. What was that like for you?
When I hit capacity. So you can tell it, you feel like a zombie, you feel stretched, there's no quality time for you. And when you hit capacity, that's when you start putting in some resistance in your yes. So not everybody can get through and grab that yes from you. And then you start evaluating what is actually benefiting you for the long term, or is it just feeding you at the moment? So I had a mentor tell me one time, he said, I was looking at buying a business. This is before I bought any businesses. This was a few years ago. And I had a realtor that brought me a tanning salon. All right. This is within the last 5 years. So tanning was not as cool as it was back in the 90s. No Playboy bunnies on the hips that you'd see.
Hey, that's a classic though.
Yeah. So, well, I sat there and was telling my mentor about it. And first of all, he started laughing. And this was on a group call of about 115 people. So I took my embarrassment pill, my humble pie. I was eating it. But this is why we get mentorship, right? This is why we get into crowds, because you want the stupid to get out of the way before it becomes extremely expensive. And he said, Chris, does this amount of money change your life? And I said, no. And he said, then why are you paying attention to it? Because you should only be paying attention to stuff that changes your life right now. And that's something that stuck with me, because at this point I had a successful cleaning and restoration business. I had extra cash. I was getting shiny object syndrome. And he knew what I didn't realize at the moment, because I was very emotionally involved with this. Oh, I'm going to go be a business acquisition guy now. And that first purchase is always a ton of emotion. And he he said, hey, it actually is going to take your focus. It's going to take way more time than what you thought. So I was like, man, I'm going to put key cards. I'm going to automate it, key cards to the rooms. I'll have a person run through and clean multiple times a day. That'll be the rotation. It'll be 24-hour service so that you can sit there and sign in and put a credit card on file. And I just had all this automation built out. And he's like, ain't going to happen. Then I got to talking to folks and they're like, no, they shit and piss in these rooms because they get naked. And then they're like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. So they if you don't have a garbage can in there, then they'll do it in the floor. And I'm like, what? You got to be joking. So you hear these wild stories and I'm like, yep, this is why I loaded this in front of my mentor. Like, no lie, there's a gym I go to and they have a tanning salon in a separate building right beside it. He said, dude, we screwed our garbage cans to the wall because we got tired of emptying out human feces from them. And then the next thing we know, they just use it in the corner. I was blown away. This is the stuff that doesn't get marketed.
Listen, if you guys own a tanning salon, I need to know, is this true? Like, send us a DM and like, are you guys really shitting in the corner of the tanning salon out there? Like, what in the world is going on?
24-hour tanning salon. They said, don't do it.
Okay, but this does lead to the idea of what does happen to a lot of people is they get to a point where they're comfortable, right? They're making a living, their bills are paid, maybe they've got a little debt, but there's some money in the bank too, so they're kind of like, it's okay, I could always cover it. And there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of debt. Not that we're going to go down that path, but like this is how entrepreneurs scale. You spend a little, you make a little.
Right.
Anyhow, there's people out there that are at that point that are going, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to find this belief that millionaires have 7 streams of income and there's all these passive businesses and all these dudes that are on the beach all day, literally just get paid and they own all these buildings and everyone does all the work for them. That's such a fallacy. Oh. However, there's a lot of guys out there being sold that dream right now, and they're not doing the due diligence of what it actually takes to run the day-to-day of these businesses. And the reason I bring this up is because a lot of people think that being an absentee owner is this like dream life. But you've been down the path, man, so spill a little bit on that. Like, keep going a layer deeper on it.
Yeah, you know, absentee owner just means that you found someone else to take your job, and it costs to find someone else to take your job. And there has to be some big upside for someone to be willing to come in and take your job, because you're asking someone to come in and be an entrepreneur without all of the upside of an entrepreneur, the ability to sit there and schedule out your time the way you want. And becoming an entrepreneur is not freedom. It eventually becomes freedom, but in the beginning it's jail, because you have just signed up to say, I'm going to be the most disciplined person that I've ever seen in my entire life, because nobody is going to put the structure in for me. So I have to create my own environment. And that's the piece that most people forget. And that's why you have so many businesses that never make over $1 million in revenue. You have so many that go out of business before they hit year 2, 3, and 5. And there's always these stats, all of these stats out that really tell you the negative side of failure with entrepreneurship. And it's because building that environment and that discipline is takes a lot of passion, and obsession is really probably the best word. So what I have found is as you're growing, then you can bring in someone at a higher level because your vision is getting bigger and they can step into it. But a part of building that vision, you got to start piecing out some nice chunks of money, because A players are not working for peanuts. So as you're leveling up, you've got to level up what you're willing to pay out. I listened to a lot of Grant Cardone when I first got real serious about business. And I remember him saying, you don't have a savings problem, you've got a revenue problem. And so many of us think that we're going to pay the cheapest to get the best players in, and we're not spending money on this. And so I flipped my head, because he said something about coffee one time, and he was like, that $8 cup of coffee is not saving you to wealth. That $8 coffee, if you can't afford it, it's just because you're not making enough money. So go make some more money. How do you make more money? You go out there and you bring value to the marketplace, and the money will follow. So the more value you bring, the more money you will make. So that to me translated into what skill set am I bringing? If I have a skill set that has a high demand for it, then people will be willing to pay for that skill set. Now I just have to have a big enough megaphone so that people understand this is the skill set that I have available for their purchasing. So those type of people, when they understand what they're worth, you're going to have to pay out. So you got to change that mindset. And most of us start a business as a highly skilled technician. That's like, I can go do this more and I can make that spread that the boss is making. And then we realize, oh, this is a whole nother skill set. We need business acumen, not trade specific craft skills. And that's the evolution of, these founders. And I'm proud to be one of them and make it on the other side, but I didn't do it without coaches. You recently have been a coach helping us on a whole nother level of that business skill set. So, if you're trying to level up and be an absentee owner, go find someone that's already done it. Hire them as a coach, listen to what the journey looks like so that you can understand what type of leader you've got to be able to bring them in. It's doable, but it is not, it's not like clicking and buying something on Amazon. It's not that easy.
It would be nice if it was, though. And
absolutely.
The problem is if it was that nice and everybody would do it and we'd have a bajillion super successful companies, but it's not that way because it requires a significant amount of introspection and really deciding like, what is it that you want out of your life? And so I want to go I love this conversation because I've always found it super interesting for the fact that you mentioned entrepreneurship, right? That's taking ownership and saying, hey, I'm going to be responsible for everything and everyone up under this umbrella. And also, though, there's something I was a big part of in my previous journey was intrapreneurship.
I love the word.
Where I came in with the idea of, hey, I know this is someone else's company, but I'm going to operate as if it's my own with the mentality that the more successful I am within this business, the better my growth opportunity looks like. So it's almost kind of like you join a superstar franchise team and you get to play behind a couple of bad, think of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers was on second string for 3-5 years, something crazy. But in sitting behind the person and drafting and learning and just paying attention and making not as much money as the superstars, but still getting enough to survive, he set himself up to be in a position to maximize that franchise when he took control of it. And I think there's a lot of people out there right now who are extremely disciplined, who have the skill set, who are very bright and hardworking, that need to focus on being an intrapreneur instead of trying to be an entrepreneur. Because they're not at the level yet where they've developed those additional skill sets that are required to manage a business that you're not doing because you're in the day-to-day trenches of the shit that generates revenue, not that grows the brand in the company.
And man, Drewbie, I would not own my own business if I had landed in a place that I could have grown in. The problem with the reason I own my own business is because I never found that place before I decided to go at it on my own.
Yep.
And the best scenario is to be in a growing, ambitious company that pays you to get an education, literally on the job education, because when there's a lot of transparency and communication about why things are being ran the way they run and what the goals are like, and it's from top down, then that is an amazing culture and environment to sit in, to get paid very well and also pick up a ton of skill sets. Every place in your life, and I just recently had put a post out as far as there's no wasted time as long as you're actually doing something. Now, I do believe there's wasted time if you just become a couch bum. But when you're out trying to experience things, those will never be wasted time because those micro skills are being built. And those micro skills allow you to bring more value to the marketplace later in life. And they compound on each other because we forget, back in the day, if you would have pulled out an iPhone and nobody had ever messed with an iPhone, they didn't understand the interface, that would not be a smartphone. It'd be a dumb phone. It'd just be a phone at that point, right?
Look at this fancy calculator. It don't even do nothing.
My daughter, she pulls open my iPhone and she knows how to get the camera on without unlocking it, like everything. She sits there and swipes. she'll sit beside me and I have to tell her no swipey. I got to like knock her hand away because she'll sit there and start flicking through if I get on scrolling on Reels in Facebook. But that's because they grew up with it. That's a micro skill that you can see if you go to 80-year-old person in our generation, they don't know how to work these phones, just like all the new technology. We forget about all of these experiences that build the micro skills. So when I used to work at CarMax. I sold for 3.5 years cars at CarMax. I saw Fortune 500 company, the way they operate, how systematized they were, how their hierarchy and their org chart was. And that gave me so many skills that I have now deployed into my businesses because I got to see a version of something that I'd never seen before. I grew up with an entrepreneurial dad. Everything was micromanaged. Everything was more mom and pop, and he made great money, but there was never a level of trust. And then when I see that version, I was like, dude, you got to have trust. But the trust came through accountability with KPIs and accountability meetings every week or month. And so then I started to understand, this is how you run with trust, and you can push the fear aside that someone's going to get over on you because there's systems and processes. So much to be learned. Entrepreneurship, I would be an entrepreneur if I had found that spot. And that's what I hope I'm building inside of the companies that we're building.
Yeah, I love that. And you're right. It is very difficult to find those positions. They're kind of the diamond in the rough opportunities. But a lot of you right now are being somewhat offered that, and you're not seeing it because you're not recognizing that the allure of being a business owner or a CEO or a founder or, whatever title you want to put on there. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like you're sold the dream of that's the path when, hey man, there's some very powerful second in commands out there right now that are making sometimes more money than the business owner themselves, to be transparent, because the owner's counting on like long-term equity and buy, like they're playing a different game.
Yep.
And so you can go and be very successful, make a lot of money, invest it wisely, not have all the stress of the overhead and all the things that go along with it, and just really excel there. That's what I love about this whole journey, right? There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's what works best for you. And Chris, you mentioned this earlier, man. It's when you're getting in the right room with the right people, having the right conversations, the right mentors. That is really when you start making the right choices and the right things start happening. And I know you guys have a fantastic community of people that you work with in the blue collar space, man. And we could probably nerd out on this stuff for many, many hours, which we have on other conversations, but I want to be respectful of your time because I know you're busy. How do we find you, learn more about what you guys have going on? Check out, you guys one of the biggest groups on Facebook, man. So give us the deets.
Yeah, man. So we got Blue Collar Millionaire Facebook group. It's a free group community. You come in there, you soak up the information, you give back. Don't come and spam. You'll get kicked out, being very transparent about it. We're knocking on the door as of today of this recording around 300,000 members. We've got a private mentor group off the side if you want to pay and play and get in a room with a bunch of other entrepreneurs that are running very successful businesses. And then we sit inside of that private community and we talk strategy, we talk bottlenecks, and it's weekly meetings. It's a private group. And then we have meetups throughout the year as well in person to give you that in-person interaction. I'm on Facebook. That's primarily where I play because that's where most of my audience is. So just Chris Garrison out of Tupelo, Mississippi. You can find me on Instagram. It's a copy and paste of my content on Facebook, and you can see me on the other platforms as well. I operate on a day-to-day basis, a restoration business that focuses on water, mold, and roofing. I'm a partner in a national windshield replacement business. I'm a partner in a coatings company for manufacturing suppliers. And then I'm in a single family real estate game as well. So I'm in the day-to-day grind. This is why I hop in the community and share, but I don't make myself as a professional coach because honestly, I just don't have the time. I'm still learning like the rest of the folks are. One day, maybe I'll make it and can retire and live off the interest of my interest-bearing accounts. And then I can have more time to just only mentor. But currently, I'll catch you in between rides between the gym and jobs and appointments. And hopefully I'll be able to help some folks. I
will vouch for that 100%. I think it was last week, guy shows up. He's on the roof putting stuff together, and he's like, yeah, I'm here. Listen, this is the level of commitment that's required though, right? He's paying for services and coaching, and he's showing up with a drill in one hand and a rope service to protect himself from falling off the damn thing in the other. Like and it goes back to his first story. I did whatever it took to be successful. So Chris, man, really can't thank you enough for hanging out and sharing that with us today, man. I'll make sure we put all that in the show notes so they can come find you.
I appreciate the opportunity, dude.
Absolutely. Well, listen, you guys know what to do. If you enjoyed the episode, share it on social media, tag me, tag Chris, let the world know you spent some time with us, you got something valuable from it. Maybe you know somebody who owns a blue-collar business and they're just absolutely sucking right now. You don't have to say that they suck, but you could send them this episode and be like, hey, man, I heard this. I think there's some things you might get from it. Go check it out. That's what we're here for, right? Spread the message, spread the movement, help our friends grow and get better. And maybe you have a sweet sales story. Maybe you got something crazy like a tanning salon where people shit in the corner because they don't want to take the 10 steps to the restroom. If you got stories like that, I want to hear them. Come on the show. Head over to callthedamnleads.com/podcast. Send us all your details. While you're there, grab a hat, t-shirt, keychain, maybe a book, something to support us. Help us get this out there. We'll see you next time. Call the Damn Leads. Take care.
When the doubt gets loud, but answer that call. Vision ain't real till you grind that speed, so breathing deep. Then call the damn leads. Call the damn leads.